In order to evaluate the success of my magazine, I will look at the strengths and weaknesses of each page and compare my own opinions to the opinions of my target audience. This will give me an unbiased view on how successful the magazine would be, and if it would appeal to my target audience. My initial thoughts on the magazine are that the colours are very complementary, and the pages are very easy to navigate. The picture-to-text ratio is fairly even, so that the pages are not overwhelmed by too many images, but don't feature too much text. Here are my audience's initial thoughts.
It's really good. It's very detailed, but everything is laid out in a way that the text is broken up. It's not just one big chunk, it's all spaced out really well.
It's quite bright, eye-catching.
It's very bright and colourful. Yeah, the image is nice and sharp, gives it a clean looking.
I like the fact there's lots of pictures, so there's not a lot of as much writing, so it breaks up the writing parts.
Strengths. I believe that my magazine genre is clearly shown throughout the use of my masthead and the backdrop of my image. The masthead clearly states that it is a country music magazine, making it obvious straight away to the reader the genre of music. As well, country music is often associated with a rural or outdoors setting. This is clearly shown in the backdrop of my image. The foreground of my image is very striking and bold, as I have used bright colours to portray a youthful feel and to make it stand out. Also, my cover lines will help to draw in readers. Weaknesses. I believe that I could maybe do with some more cover lines along the right hand side of the page, as well use a variety of colours as opposed to just 3. This would help it seem brighter and bolder. This is what I think, but here are some views from my target audience.
It's quite colourful. The text has a nice effect on it, so it represents the genre of music that well.
It's just very direct with everything that it contains. It doesn't contain too many words, and the picture's nice and bold, really grabs your attention.
They're quite sharp photographs, so when you look at it, it's really clear. So.
A bold title, so it's really striking, and in striking colours, so you see it easily.
At the moment, it's a very feminine-based magazine. It doesn't really appeal to a male audience much.
The competition circle could be expanded a bit just to make it a bit more obvious.
Where it has a number 10, the pink's quite random, so if you change it to like another colour, so maybe like the blue or red or something, so it flows a bit better and maybe make the cover lines a bit more bold.
Maybe a more variety of colours?
Now onto my contents page. Strengths. I think that the contrast between the sharp images on the right side of the page and the blurred background is very striking and will help my magazine to stand out. A particular strength that I like is the use of social networking sites on the top right hand corner of the page. This will appeal to a younger audience. The content features are very precise and to the point. This reduces the amount of text featured so as to not overload the reader. Weaknesses. Although the use of social media is very good, I think that it should have more prominence on the page, as it is quite small in the corner. I also think that the page could use some more colour to make it bolder and more fun. What did my audience have to say about the contents page?
The effect that you've used with the fading of the image looks good, and also the way the text has been laid out is nice and keeps the magazine flowing.
I like the numbers along the side, so it's really easy and obvious about what page you're meant to turn to.
I like the way it's split into cover articles and regular features, so you know what to look for in what place.
The way that the background sort of blends in from white to the picture.
The pictures on the side are a bit jaggedy, and the effect doesn't follow the images of the background as well, which kind of judders it a bit.
Maybe there could have been a bit more of a colour in the background?
Finally, the strengths and weaknesses of my article. Strengths. The images are very striking and clearly show the genre and the style of the singer. The headline stands out and will draw the reader's attention in. I particularly like the use of the bold colours on the starting letters of her name. The bold questions within the text make it easier to read and understand. The quotes add a new dimension to the article, luring in the readers as they want to know where the quotes came from and what caused them. The direct mode of address used in both images allows the reader to connect both to the article and to the artist. This is a very strong feature. Weaknesses. The use of the background image on the first page makes it a little bit harder to read, as there is no contrast between the background and the foreground. The embedded quote upon the right page appears a little bit squashed, as the text around it is very close towards the sides. Here are my audience's opinions on my article.
I think the main strengths are how you put the text around the image.
The text is laid out nicely and there's a good variety of pictures.
I like how they have the bolded bits, which is like the most important bit, like I owe so much to my fans in big bold, so you get an idea of what you're reading before you even read it.
It's got a lot of attention to detail in it. I like the way that it's formatted, so every question is spaced out with a different answer, and the way that the first letters of each name of the girl are in a different colour. I just think it's a bit more detailed than other magazines.
The font, make it a different colour or put a different coloured background behind it, just over the text, you're able to see it better.
Some of the text is quite hard to read, so maybe you could put a box or something behind the text, or change the font colour, just so it stands out a bit more on the picture. The other side's fine though.
A few more bold areas in the main text, just so that some bits stand out more.
The quote in the middle of the page, I think it should be moved along a bit, because I think because it's in the centre, it just kind of collides with the rest of the words.
I then asked my target audience if they would buy my magazine if they saw it in a shop.
I wouldn't buy this magazine because it's a very feminine based magazine and doesn't really appeal much to the male audience.
I don't really have much of an interest in country music, but if I did, I would definitely buy it.
I personally wouldn't, because it's not the genre of music that I like.
Yes, I definitely would, because it looks really interesting and it's on quite a good topic, because there's not much of that out in the shops at the moment, so I think it'll be a good choice.
To conclude, I think that my magazine is very well put together and the strengths outweigh the weaknesses. However, the audience for this music genre is very niche, and a small percentage of that audience was within my target age range. This is shown by only 1 out of the 4 people I interviewed saying that they would buy my magazine due to the genre of the music. I think that this magazine would be more popular amongst an older audience as opposed to a younger one. I feel that the magazine would not be as successful as music magazines that have different genres aimed at the same target audience, if they are a genre of music that is listened to more widely amongst young people. In order to make my magazine more successful, I could target an older audience that has a large market for this music genre, or I could make it a hybrid between country music and a different genre, for example pop or indie. To conclude, I think that my magazine would not be successful amongst my target audience as it is of an unfamiliar genre to them, and therefore would not be something they would buy on impulse. Thank you for listening.